to Congress to authorize force against the Islamic State is a likely precursor for the decision to order U.S. troops to launch a ground operation in Syria and Iraq. This according to the head of the BASA Center for Strategic Studies, Professor Gerald Steinberg, speaking with IBA's Aryeh O'Sullivan.
It's possible that the president's trying to prepare what is a reluctant constituency. People who voted for Obama do not want to send troops to go fight in the Middle East again. They want to get out. Iraq, Afghanistan, those are Obama's few accomplishments, in quotes. But he may be preparing the ground with the realization that in order to defeat the kind of barbaric terrorism, we see it now in Europe, we see it elsewhere, they're going to have to put boots on the ground. And I see that part of his speech as perhaps preparing the American public for that if it becomes necessary.
Boots on the ground in Syria and Iraq?
Could be, yeah. You may not be large numbers, but effective combat troops, small groups that go after leaders. Canadians are doing that. We had some news report about that they're on the ground. And I think that everybody agrees that if you're going to be effective in preventing ISIS from expanding its territory and start pushing back, you've got to have some boots on the ground. It's not going to be done from the air entirely.
Well, looking at Iran, he said he was going to, he vowed that he would veto more sanctions against Iran. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's probably not a good thing. It's very hard to imagine there's going to be an acceptable agreement. It almost sounds like, it does sound like, the President of the United States is desperate for an agreement with Iran, will take any terms at all, and is signaling to the Iranian leaders who are responsible for so much terrorism around the world, trying to build illegal nuclear weapons, saying that I'm going to protect you from the people who are more intense about you keeping your word on these agreements that have already been reached and reaching a broader set of agreements. And that's not likely to end well. It's very bad negotiating strategy internationally. Obama's still negotiating in the terms of more like a neighborhood negotiator rather than international, with all the chaos and anarchy that exists and the consequences thereof.
Let's talk about Obama's image. Are we getting signs that his leadership is waning, that it's disintegrating now?
I think we've had those for at least a year. We're in now the beginning of the sixth year of Obama's 8-year presidency. And there's very few, certainly in foreign policy accomplishments, but even domestically. But the economy is doing well in the U.S., and that's to his credit, and that's his main source of strength. But particularly in foreign policy, everything that he's touched has not been successful. Relations with Ukraine and Russia have not been, he's not shown any success in that. And clearly in the Middle East, everything that he's touched has gone bad. Now we have also what amounts to an Iranian type of takeover of Yemen, which is where the terrorists were trained that killed both the cartoonists in Paris and also in the Jewish supermarket. So these are issues that a world leader should be tackling in a much more serious way. And Obama is being criticized very strongly, both in the United States and outside, for not showing the leadership. And in fact, I don't think the State of the Union address really changed that significantly.
Security